America's 50 favorite foods. This is the focus group.
They're all business, except when they're not. It's the Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash.
Welcome to the Focus Group. John Nash here with my good friend and co-host Tim Bennett. FocusGroupRadio.com is the URL for our website. You'll learn all about us there and also about our podcast TFG Unbuttoned, which precedes the Focus Group earlier in the week. It's 20 minutes, 3 stories, brought to you by our friends at Critics' Choice Video. If you are listening to this on one of your audio feeds of choice, like Spotify, Pandora, or Apple Podcasts, it's part of your feed and you've probably already heard it. So, but if you want to watch the video of the Focus Group, which is what you're listening to right now, that drops on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and available as audio on Saturdays. Mr. Bennett, we are now firmly into April. I have to tell you, honestly, though, the other day I did a bike ride with my friend Adam. When I pulled out some of my winter biking clothes, I'm like, wait a minute, it's April what? I guess this is kind of common for spring, right?
Yeah, we had our heat on the other
You did?
night. Yeah, I think it was Sunday night the heat came on, which I was surprised about. But because usually this time of year. What?
Total non sequitur. When your internet went out last week and you sent me a note saying you went to the Xfinity store, did you figure out that the modem was bad somehow on your own?
Well, I think I told you. So you and I have been big fans of Pluto. And
Pluto TV, yeah.
Pluto TV. And I have a wireless router upstairs that Xfinity provides. And it is whip fast. Boom, 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 boom. And I can move around channels and so forth. The one that's actually connected to the modem down here
with a like an
cable
Ethernet
box
jack
with an Ethernet, whatever, was so slow. You would hit the button and it would be, I would count 3 to 5 seconds before it would move. And so I sensed that. I thought it can't be this bad. Because I asked you about it. I said, do you have problems with the Pluto platform? You're like, no, move right around.
Yeah.
So I got up in the morning and the whole thing was out. And because the cable was going through there to send out from the cable box to the TV upstairs or whatever. And then the internet went out and I just said, rather than me waiting for a service call or something, they opened a new Xfinity store here in the area, which is kind of like they tried to rip off the Apple stores.
Mm-hmm.
The smartest thing I did, and I'd recommend this to anybody, is I usually just show up there, but I made an appointment.
Yeah.
And
okay.
Thankfully I did, because I showed up there and there were probably 9 people waiting with all kinds of problems, aside from people now opening up their rental houses or getting their cable goosed up for summer. Right. And I was the only one with an appointment. Now, the other people were pissed because I walked in. They're like, oh, you have an 11:30 appointment. I said, yes. And so my transaction, I did have to wait a little bit because there were people that were waiting on. But the whole transaction only took me about 90 seconds for that piece. But I had to wait until they waded through working with the people that were already there. But the appointment was the way to go.
All right, so this duplicates my experience with Spectrum. Spectrum has a bunch of facilities around the city, and I did exactly what you did. I had to upgrade or replace the modem in the cable box. I got a note saying we got to do this. And I made an appointment at the store. I went down to the store, which is, a 10-minute walk away. And I go in, there's like at least 20 people sitting around.
Oof.
And they had displays for phones and stuff, so you could keep yourself a little bit busy. But they had a board, it looked like an airline departure board with someone's like a first initial, last name, and what number you were in the queue, right? So I come in, and there's an iPad that you have to sign into, and there's a woman there, and she's like, I said, I have an appointment. Oh, just tap that button. And so you look at the airplane departure board, and suddenly like Jay Nash pops up, like up to the top, and a couple people start looking around, and a woman actually said to me, goes, how can you do that? And I said, if you make an appointment before you come in. Oh, okay. And so I waited maybe 10 minutes, then they called me. The transaction was exactly as fast as you just said. The guy goes, okay, he scans the barcodes on the hardware, puts them in a bag, you're off and running. But I'm very pleased that you self-diagnosed this problem without having the guy come out.
Well, both Richard and neighbors and our friends Patrick and Howard were shocked that I did it myself. I said, "What? And I know you are so far more advanced that when anything comes with the computer, I've got to call you to ask you how to turn it on. So you can imagine if they think that I'm an expert, being able to plug in the modem box. But I preferred to do it myself rather than waiting. And it's fine. It works fine. I'd recommend people upgrade. I'm not a huge fan of Xfinity, but we are in the land of tax-free shopping here. So right next to the Xfinity store is a Gap outlet.
Did you get
tax-free shopping. So I'm going to ask you a question. So I went in there, and I haven't been in Gap in quite a while. So I'm wandering around. They had some good deals, nice things. They're kind of getting back to basics again, selling T-shirts and jeans. So they had this whole group of denim jean jackets. And I had a bunch of jean jackets, probably in the 80s and the 90s. Yeah. And I got rid of them all, which I kicked myself for doing. So I thought, I might like to buy a denim jacket. So I looked, and they didn't have any of my size on sale, but I'd gone home, and of course, sure enough, I get a pop-up, that Gap, because they know where you're going, your phone. So I go on the other night, and they had a denim jacket. It was originally $110 down to $33. So
your size, right?
Yeah, Richard's over the shoulder looking. I said, I think I'm going to get a denim jacket. He goes, don't you have enough jackets? I said, I do. I said, but I've wanted a denim jacket. You can wear it with khakis. You can wear it in the spring. You can wear it in the fall. And he's dead silent. And he said, I think you're a little mature for a jean jacket.
Oh, so it went from don't you have enough already to you're a bit mature for a denim jacket.
So I was wondering, I didn't think I was too old for a denim or a jean jacket. Do you think so? So I had this whole, I had the little, so of course while I was there, I clicked on, the little shopping bag. So I found a T-shirt, I found a belt, a couple things. So I loaded up this thing to get free shipping. And then when he said that, I just closed it all down. I was like, forget it. So I got nothing.
It's so funny. The roles are so different. Like, I guess I'm the Richard. Like, the other day I had the coat closet open, and I noticed that my outerwear takes up maybe a third of the rack, and Bob's takes up 2/3. And he's in the kitchen doing something with dinner. And I said, maybe you could thin out your coats a bit. He goes, no, I need more. And he busts out laughing, and that was the end of that. Like, no, I need more. I'm like, okay.
I love a coat.
But to answer your question, this literally popped up with a conversation with a friend of mine the other day who is thoroughly in your camp. Denim jackets never go out of style. And he was actually ticking off a couple brands who made some nice ones. And I've seen people wearing them, like especially yesterday was one of those weird days, like never got above 60, right. But it was kind of a jacket day. Looked great.
I think with a white Oxford and khakis, It could be nice. Now, he's telling me no. So now that you're telling me yes, I might go back and get it.
And get your bag. Yeah, I bet your bag's still there if you go back to the site. Yeah, the cookie
I was so aggravated. Well, it was telling me, you better hurry up and get them. They're running low. They do that.
When you were at the Gap, did you happen to see shorts at all?
Oh, yeah. Cargo shorts are coming back, John.
Oh.
I don't like.
They're baggy.
They had cargo shorts. They didn't have any of the nice kind of dress shorts that we're used to seeing there, but it might be a tad early. They looked like they were getting rid of a lot of their winter things.
I went to the Old Navy website, and they claimed that everything online was not available in the store. Like,
that's the problem now. You can't go in somewhere. I found this out. You and I were traveling. You and I were going to Spain or something, and I wanted to get some polo shirts, and I'd gone to Bloomingdale's or I'd gone somewhere to get them, and everybody said, "Oh, you got to get them online. We don't have them now. They're out of season." I thought, when did that happen? So even the stores weren't holding stuff anymore. They're just keeping it, and you got to order online. But I want to touch and feel and see. I will say some of the quality of the stuff is thinner and not as good. Mm-hmm. Of course, it is outlet. I'll put in quote. But but they had some nice nice things there. So we'll see. But I guess maybe I'll go back and consider. I used to have a Gap denim jacket. I had a Wrangler one, I had a Levi, and I had a Polo. The Polo one was off-white. People loved it. I don't know where it ended up. Somebody took it.
I had a Levi's denim jacket for years.
We all had Levi's, yeah.
Yeah.
You got a JCPenney back in the day for nothing.
Do
you have one now?
No. It was.
Would you ever get one again or no?
I would. In fact, the ones that I was seeing around the other day, like a lot of them are just cut really simple.
Yeah.
A good clean cut. Nothing too fancy. I remember it being, mine was so worn that it almost felt like a shirt, like it was really soft and easy to wear.
It's American
This,
Icon.
this whole clothing thing, though, reminds me of the other day, Charles Turret, I'm probably not pronouncing it, but they got my number. I only buy their product when it's 4 for $99 or 3 for $99. They'll send me tons of stuff all the time. Like we have polos, we have suits. I only act when it's, I can get three for $99. And so they had the sale come up again, and I wanted to get some short sleeve shirts for the summer. And I order some. They're all kind of nice. They arrive, and then Bob finds me in the bedroom having a meltdown at the closet. And he sits on the bed and he starts laughing. He goes, "What's wrong, sweetie?" And I said, "Well, you know how the rule works. If I get a new piece of clothing, 2 have to go, or at least 1-to-1." And he goes, "Oh, I feel like I'm going to get a front row seat." He goes, "What's going to go?" And I said, "Well, I don't know." 20 minutes later, I was hemming and hawing about one shirt, and yeah, then finally I decided to take the shirts I wanted to get rid of, fold them nicely, and put them on a lower shelf in my closet. And if I forget them, then they can go away. But the hanger is now free, and it's now got.
So they're one step away. It's like putting food in the freezer, right?
Yes.
One step away from the garbage.
What a great analogy! Yeah, it's like
put it in the freezer.
It's
What's
one
this?
step away. So now I have a holding pen, and when the holding pen gets a little full, and I'm like, "Oh, I haven't worn that. I haven't thought about that shirt in months." Then it goes away. Bob just smiles. He goes, "You're crazy." I'm like, "No, it's like Tim's grandmother. When she passed away, she had a chair,
God.
a table, a bowl, a fork, and a spoon, and a glass."
Yeah. My mother was talking about that when it was up there. Because as crazy as we all thought she was, she now sees the logic in it.
Mm-hmm.
That when she did pass away, my mother said it was easy. The house cleaned. House was cleaned out in a matter of an hour or two. Boom, done. Yeah, there was no going through anything. Although they were upset. She burned pictures. She burned everything. She had an old barrel. She burned all kinds of stuff, family photos. Burned it up.
That's the part that people get really upset about because you can't replace
my father
those.
was furious. She also had a picture. One of the things, she had come from England when she was a little kid, and she had hanging in the den this picture of the Queen Mother that she had that they brought over with them when they came in 1912 or whenever from England. And it was always hanging in a prominent place in the den, and I always wanted to have it. That went in the barrel.
The burning barrel, right?
Yeah, burned it all up. Nobody asked. Nobody said they wanted anything. It's like my grandfather died, and my mother's rooting through the garbage and found his watch. At least I got that, but she threw everything away.
Boy, she got me beat by a mile,
Woo,
right?
you two are kindred spirits, Nash. I lose my grandmother, and you took her spot.
All right. On that note, what caught your eye?
What caught your eye? Here's what Tim and John found.
So one of our favorite groups, and by the way, they were slighted this past weekend, I think, by not getting to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The B-52s, one of our favorite groups from time past and still. I still love their music and listen to it quite often. Holds up well. So the B-52s, Kate Pierson. So she's one of the women, if you're not familiar with the band. But Kate is selling her Airstream compound. So Kate is the redhead. She's not the blonde, but she's the redhead of the group. And she and her partner, Monica Coleman, are selling their funky Airstream compound, which is called Kate's Lazy Desert. Now, you might remember a year or two ago, she had a place up in the Hudson Valley in the Catskills.
Was it the Catskills? Yeah, Catskills. Okay.
Right. And she had sold that. It was Kate's Lazy Retreat or something. Or
Lazy Creek or something. It was cabins or was it Airstreams?
It was Airstreams and cabins, and it was a fishing place. And she had said she was driving around at the time up in the Catskills and came across this place and bought it. And they took 2 years to rehab it to kind of mid-century modern. But so what they also did is out near Joshua Tree, they had bought this compound and they put Airstreams on it. So it's Kate's Lazy Desert. It's in Landers, California. It features 6 Airstream campers with names like Kate's Hairstream, Planet Air, Tiki, and some others. It's on 5 acres. It's 15 miles to Joshua Tree National Park. It's also a stone's throw away to the iconic Integratron. Do you know that?
Integratron?
Yes. And do you know what that is?
Is it some kind of particle collider or something? Or
well, So I had to look it up because they mentioned it. So it was built in 1954. It's located in Landers, and it's right near, adjacent to her her Airstream park. It was created by a guy named George Van Tassel, and he built the structure based on the design of Moses' Tabernacle, the writings of Tesla, and the telepathic directions from extraterrestrials.
Oh my God, Tim, I found a
You've
picture
got to go
of it.
see it.
Yes.
So it's
this
one
is
of a
like-
kind, 38-foot high, 55-foot diameter, all-wood dome, and it's designed to be an electrostatic generator for the purpose of rejuvenation and time travel. So that's right.
And
there.
don't forget to throw in anti-gravity according to this, right?
Anti-gravity, and it's actually on the National Register of Historic Places from the National Park Service. But the area right there is also a no noise and no light pollution. There's also an additional adjacent 5 acres that comes with the property that already has a septic system, electric and water hookup, and a house footprint. The property has a conditional use permit, which allows you to operate the property as a motel, trailer park, or campground. And there's also a 400 square foot cabin aside from the 6 Airstreams. And another adjoining 5 acre parcel with a poured concrete foundation. And that also has utilities. So there's lots to do, lots to figure out. If you want to do this, it would be a good idea if you wanted some shared ownership. And as she had said here in the brochure, roam if you want to. Now, what do you think this costs?
You that was going to be my first thing was, what are they charging for this? So would it be out of the question? You said it's near Joshua Tree National Park.
So it's near Joshua Tree. It's like it's 5 acres with these 6 Airstreams plus an additional 5 adjacent acres with hookup for expansion.
Okay, so you're buying the Airstreams, you're buying the extra
10 acres.
piece of property with already laid in stuff to have a house put in. Why do I want to say like 1.4?
And I think that's a good guess. But it's only $452,000. I thought that's a good deal.
Tim, you know, Joshua Tree is half an hour, 40 minutes from Palm Springs, right?
Yeah. And this is 20. This said 20, about 20 minutes from Joshua Tree. So I thought 452 was a very good price, considering you're getting all of these Airstreams that have been fully reconditioned to a very mid-century modern B-52s vibe. And it's up and running. I mean, it's a Airstream campground motel. But
of course, what we don't know and what a prospective
is what's
buyer,
around it.
A and B, like what's your year look like? Like occupancy of the Airstreams, right? Like I would be very curious to know how many are booked all the time, you know, who's coming out there, right?
Well, it's hotter than Hades, you know, right? So it's got to be like sitting in one of those tin cans in July is not going to happen, or August. So you've got to figure it's probably November to March-ish. I don't know.
Maybe, because you know how our friends who are out in the desert will say, you know,
yeah,
but
and to be in an Airstream with a big old bright shiny Airstream sitting in a little hot can. And but anyway, it's available. Now, she did sell the place in upstate New York near you for $2.3 million.
Okay.
And so she's selling this for $452. But I thought she's 73 years old. You know, we forget how that our rock stars are aging like we are.
That's so impossible, Tim. She can't be,
She's going to be 74 this year. So she and her partner, or she and her wife, Monica, have decided to, divest themselves of some of this stuff and simplify. But they did, I guess they couldn't control themselves, or probably for tax purposes, they did buy a place in the Cape. So right in Truro, they bought a place called Kate's Lazy Cape.
Oh, okay.
And
okay.
you can stay there. So it's a large house, and it looks really cool. You can Airbnb that in Cape Cod, in Truro, which is right next to Provincetown or P-Town. So they did invest in that, but and they did keep a property in the Hudson Valley. They just sold the motel.
All right, so they're downsizing
anyway, that's what caught
their
my eye.
business.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very cool. I think that even they probably have property managers and people taking care of this stuff, but it's still something they have to monitor and take care of. So, but Tim, I do agree with you that number, it's a pretty low number.
I thought so. 452.
So I think a site visit, if you're going to buy it, would be essential.
My God, yeah. Well, I'm a little. There was two things that came to my mind. It's funny you said this. Is that I was wondering, we probably then in the times I visited you, I don't know how far away the motel was to your house.
Oh, there are very few. It's Hudson was the closest motel. Yeah.
No, but I mean where hers was to your house.
Oh,
She was near
probably
Woodstock.
Yeah, she was about an hour or 50 minutes south of us.
But I thought it would have been fun to go look at that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you and I had been in Palm Springs so many times,
We could have gone to this.
It would have been fun to look at this. But next time. Next time we go out that way.
We need to do that soon. All right, so mine could not be any more different, and that's the beauty of Caught Your Eye, right? And it involves Pringles and Crocs. This came across my radar on from Axios, and I'll put it up and I'll let you take a look, but the headline read, "Finally, a Pringles holster for your Crocs." Now, I don't know how people feel about, yes. So the article basically said that by the time you read about this, these things are probably all sold out. But Crocs has partnered with Pringles to create a custom line of what they call sliders, so those things like sandals.
Right.
The Croc that you know and love or hate. And then there's a picture here we're showing on the video of a Croc boot, which I've never really seen. And there's a holster built into it for one of those half-size cans of Pringles. This, Tim, your reaction was exactly like mine. So it says, Pringles has teamed up with Crocs for the ultimate snacking accessory. And why does this matter? The global market for snack foods exploded during the pandemic and continues to grow. So food manufacturers are getting creative with tasty and Instagrammable novelties. So right off the bat, we can say, as marketing guys, that this was definitely done as something to get lightning in a bottle. It's going to be viral, right?
Make attention. Right, get attention.
So it's the Pringles X Crocs collab dropped a set of limited time products just this past Monday, including the $100 boots, which we see here on the video, in both men's and women's sizes. The classic Crush boots come with a mini can of new Pringles, so you at least should have it preloaded before you have to buy the more mini cans. And I think the boot comes with watermelon, chili, and lime flavor. Other products in the shoe line are the $70 classic clogs, which people see all the time, and the $50 classic slides. But alas, if you're reading this now, you're probably too late, and they sold out except for the Crocktail Party Chips. So you can get something else too. So this was just one of those things that they did to goose up the notion of buying Pringles, I suppose. But I don't. When was the last time you saw someone wearing Crocs? By the way, do you have people down there that do?
Oh yeah, well, a lot of lesbians. It's the new Birkenstock.
Okay, so
and there's actually a Crocs store here. I saw a couple. I saw far too many this weekend. I'll just put it at that. I think they stink. I would think they would smell the Croc.
Have you ever even tried one on? Because I haven't. I don't want to poo-poo it.
Brian from Admark loves them. He wore them
as a shoe.
Yeah. Well, he would go out in the yard because of the wet yard and the grass or whatever and do them. And I wear my bean boots, but the loafer boot, the low one. I use those, which I guess could be almost considered like a Croc.
No, they are not, Tim. Those are acceptable shoes from New England, from a storied brand.
I thought Croc was going out of business.
So did I, but I see a lot of the school kids. If here in the city, if you happen to take the train around 3:00. A lot of the school kids are going back home, and a lot of them wear Crocs. And then there's this whole thing about putting pins on the Crocs.
Oh, yeah. Yep, little like charms.
Exactly, like a charm bracelet, a Croc bracelet, right? So that's it, folks. I mean, there's not much.
When you're down next time, John, when you come down this summer, we'll go to the Croc store. Then we'll head over to Yankee Candle. We'll do the whole loop. We'll go to Gap.
Bob wants to play miniature golf again.
We can do that. There's a new one that opened right next to the Walmart. Which everybody's upset about. It was a bank that went out, and they turned the bank into a miniature golf course.
Well, the place that we played at was attached to the Yo Ho Ho pirate shop, right?
Yeah, there's the Shell House, or what the hell is it called? Shell Shop.
And that's where I got that Sharky puppet, and we had a ball there. I remember that day we went and played. So anyway, Pringles partnered with Crocs on a collab, which is very Instagrammable. If you want this, you might go online to look for Pringles and Crocs and see what you get. But apparently they're saying, or maybe they want that to be like a wish fulfillment, they're already sold out.
I have a pair of clogs from LL Bean that Richard has ruined because he wears them out. And but I went looking. You can't get them anymore. Bean stopped selling the clogs for men.
And they were literally like the wooden.
Well, they
sole.
weren't like the Dr. Scholl's that the girls wore in the 70s with the stapled around.
Okay,
leather.
okay. So
no. These were just black, like a black, no back. I guess it would be called a clog, but it wasn't.
Tim, that is the traditional clog. You know, when I first started working at Marshall's,
But it wasn't
brand names for
wood.
less.
Yeah.
Oh well, when I first started at Marshall's, I was in the shoe department, and ABBA came out with ABBA
Oh,
clogs.
yes, the ABBA clogs. Yeah.
And those things couldn't stay on the shelf. And I remember helping people try those darn things on. And shoe salesmanship, you don't like people wearing sandals with the toes and the dirty.
Yeah.
I used to have to try people get to wear those little ped things before they put the croc on. I don't need to wear that.
No, all the girls in high school had those wooden clogs and made the noise. Clack, 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 clack.
Clack, clack, clack.
No, this is just a rubber slip-on that's easy to just jump if you need to run out to put the garbage out or get the mail or something. But I thought he wears them all the time. I thought, well, I'm going to get you your own pair. And
No more.
Ella Bean stopped selling them. So I guess they must have, you can still find something like it on Amazon. But
I hear Crocs are calling.
Crocs are a good idea. I'm going to get a pair. I'm going to get these Pringle Crocs for him. He won't eat any of that stuff, though. He doesn't eat that stuff. I made the brownies, John.
Which ones?
The Pillsbury brownies.
How'd you like them?
Well, I should take a picture. I did take a picture. So we, of course, did not have a baking pan. Those things did not make it down from Glenside. So I had to bake it in I found an old loaf pan we had in a closet that apparently did make it. So I showed it to the woman, Renee, who's also you with the Duncan Hines and whatever. And she just said, what are you making, a brick? And but it had to cook for over an hour
because
it was so deep.
In a meatloaf pan.
Yeah, meatloaf pan. That's what it was, and it was so deep. So Richard yelled at me for doing it. Then of course I came down in the morning, and it was either a mouse or Richard that had dug in it with his hands. I took a picture of it. I'll show it to you. A mess. It looked like a bear had gone in there and just pawed at it. But they tasted darn good. For $1.49, it was and an egg and some oil. It was good.
Vegetable oil, yeah.
And a little fudgy top, which I don't know how they did that.
Did you get the crackly top thing?
Yeah. No, they were good. I thought I was, and I'm not a big chocolate guy, but I thought they were quite good.
I'm actually later today, I'm making Duncan Hines, and I figured out with that recipe, it's a glass pan, a little bit smaller than 13 by 9, and you got to watch the time. Like when it hits a half hour, then I have to check it every 3 minutes, and then I pull it out right in time. And that way
I kept sticking the toothpick in until the toothpick was clean.
Oh, and Bob taught me you have to do that sideways. He's got this whole... One time I did it, and he's like, oh, these are a little undercooked, but they're okay. Now I make him do the testing, and that's when I learned if the toothpick goes in sideways, you have a better chance of finding if there's spots that aren't cooked. Who knew? Who knew? Tim, every day. All right. I think it's time to visit with the business birthday.
Everyone does celebrity birthday greetings, but the Focus Group is the only show in the universe that celebrates business birthdays.
Born on Thursday, which is April 25th, so not today on the 24th, but born tomorrow, if you're listening on Wednesday, is Adam Neumann. And I was not familiar with Adam. Were you familiar with him before?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So you're better than I am.
You bet. This is I'm surprised you haven't profiled him for other reasons, but this, yeah.
So he's the title, so it's his 45th birthday on April 25th. He's born in 1979. He's born in Israel. He's a businessman and an investor. He co-founded WeWork with a buddy of his, Miguel McKelvey. And WeWork is one of those shared business stations where people could go and get a desk or a cube. Right, and work together. Do you know where the idea came from?
There's been a lot of articles written about him. You can tell me. I have a theory, but
you tell me what your theory is, because I would have never guessed this.
I read that he came up with the idea when he was traveling, and it was like he went into a shared space. It was more like coffee shop work thing, but that story changes. So what is the what's the?
So I think you're close to that. So before WeWork, he had founded a children's clothing company called Crawlers with a K, and they said Neumann and McKelvey began working together, and they met through a mutual friend. And they started working on something called Green Desk, which was also a shared workspace business, which focused on sustainability. They said this was the precursor to them developing WeWork. And they invested in Green Desk, and then they sold it and made about $15 million and took that money, worked with another investor, and developed WeWork. And they said how WeWork was different, or what he felt was missing with Green Desk, was that he wanted to replicate the feeling of togetherness and belonging that he thought he felt in Israel and was very much lacking in the West. So he said he felt when he grew up in Israel as a child, and he lived on a kibbutz for a while, he said that he felt that there was far more it takes a village mentality, I guess, if I were to paraphrase it. And so that's how he developed WeWork. And it was very successful. They were criticized because not only were they opening up these WeWork areas, but they were also buying the real estate. So they were paying themselves to have the right to also have that, which, listen, a lot of banks and franchisees do that. So I don't think it's out of character. It's probably a smart business decision, but some people say it's a conflict of interest. The Wall Street Journal picked up on an issue that happened to him in 2018 while WeWork was going great guns. He and his friends had chartered a Gulfstream from the U.S. to Israel, and they said they spent the whole flight smoking marijuana.
This is like, I remember this reporting. So
Do you? So they landed in Israel. The flight crew found cereal boxes stuffed with marijuana. They alerted the jet owner. The jet owner got afraid that they were now part of some marijuana trafficking incident. So they hightailed and ordered the plane back to the U.S., which left them stranded in Israel, and they had to find their way back commercially. And because none of the I guess NetJets or whoever it wasn't going to bring them back. So that was in 2018. In 2019, the Wall Street Journal seems to have it out for him. Also reported that the other investors in WeWork had asked Neumann to step down after a tumultuous week in which his eccentric behavior and drug use had come into light before a planned IPO. So they were going to sell WeWork for about $700 million at the initial IPO, or to put it on the exchange. And they said that he undermined the, I'm sorry, I got that wrong. He had taken $700 million out.
Correct. Yeah.
Of WeWork, and undermined the position of the company pre the IPO. So he ended up stepping down, and or forced to step down. And poor guy was only in order to leave his, you know how much money he got for leaving?
I seem to remember it was like something like 1.3 billion. Is that
1.7 billion? I'll leave for 1.7 billion. John, you want to sell Triberry? Let's sell 1.7 billion. I'm out. So so he gets this 1.7 million severance, and a bunch of the stockholders at WeWork go crazy and call it a breach of fiduciary responsibilities and duties, because he also worked a gig where he was going to get 185 million in consulting fees while he was
stepping down. Yeah.
While he was stepping down. So he took his money and he went and he invested in something called Flow.
Yeah, didn't really do much. Yeah.
No, so I had to look up what Flow is. They said Flow is a company that hopes to address aspects of the U.S. housing shortage through technology by providing equity for renters and a new type of social interaction. The startup is initially planned to operate 3,000 apartment units purchased by Neumann in Nashville, Atlanta, Miami, and Fort Lauderdale. The plans were announced in 2003, was supposed to open in 2004, nothing's happened. But he continues to invest in real estate. He's investing in blockchain and carbon credits. He invested in a big cannabis company in Israel with the former Prime Minister Ehud Barak. And he's invested in some other tech businesses and hospitality companies. They said, we talked about his purchasing of properties, and he purchased the top floor of the Woolworth building, which you and I are familiar with, which is he's converted into condominiums in Manhattan. And they said that the Vanity Fair had said, so he has made some outrageous claims. So he says he wants to live forever.
Yep.
And he wants to become the world's first trillionaire. And he's going to expand WeWork to the planet Mars. And he also wants to become Israel's prime minister. and then he'll become president of the world. Vanity Fair also reported he made claims that he convinced Rahm Emanuel to run for president. He used J.P. Morgan's Jamie Dimon as his personal banker, convinced Saudi Arabia to improve the standing of women, claimed he worked with Jared Kushner on the peace plan for Israel and Palestine. So he's got quite an imagination, and he lives in Manhattan with his wife Rebecca and 6 children.
Yeah,
I believe they're in the.
I think they're down in Tribeca.
Yeah, I want to say Tribeca. I had it here, but I lost
so
it. So
the thing about him and WeWork,
Greenwich Village. He's in
he's in the Village.
Greenwich,
Okay,
he's
so
in the Village.
WeWork. This is Tim and I have this philosophy that you can be the master of one trade or the jack of all trades. Most businesses fail when they expand because they decide to go into things that make no sense. So WeWork was a simple proposition.
Yep.
You can lease your own little office cube or desk space, and in fact, you could have a subscription where if you could go. WeWork became like a work club. So if you were in Chicago and you had a WeWork subscription, you could go to the Chicago WeWork.
Yep.
And get work
It's a great
done
idea.
and have meetings there. But then he advanced the idea to a lifestyle brand. So they were going to host networking parties, and there was going to be a hotel, and there's going to be all this and he started doing the real estate investing. And then the market changed, and the pandemic really socked it to WeWork. By that time he was out of the company, but
Right.
I think there was also a major investor that came in and loaned the company a lot of money. Then he left, and it's just and if you were a stockholder, it was a nightmare. But hey, grander than life seems to be the name of the game, right? Because
and he got his payout, right? He got his payout from WeWork, and that's where the money came from, right? Because he had, he certainly didn't have what he has now in terms of.
And you're right about the Journal, and even Vanity Fair used to have these pieces. A reporter once sat in on a pitch that he gave to investors, and she said that in the article, she said if you left one of these pitches, you'd think the next thing that was going to happen is you could hop on a unicorn and fly to your destination.
Yeah,
it was all magical pink ponies, and here's what we're going to do. But I guess that's the way that works, right?
A little Elon Muskish, right?
Yes, just a touch.
Elon Musk, and so he was listed in 2024 through Forbes as 2.2 billion.
Yeah, one of the richest. People
John,
in
you
the
need
world.
one thing to sell, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess is how it works, and there's certainly an awful lot of luck involved.
Yeah,
WeWork seems like a good idea.
It is. But I think they got ahead of their skis. You know that phrase, "You're out in front of your skis."
Right.
When they began buying the real estate, then they became responsible for things they never had to worry about before: building maintenance, taxes, a whole bunch of things. And that's when the investors are like, "Wait a minute! If you lease from somebody, you can walk away from that. If you own it, now we've got to turn that into a capital generator." Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Good birthday, by the way. I'm glad you profiled him because he's one of those business people who have survived a lot of negative press, done some great stuff. Maybe he'll do some more great things in the future, but it's interesting. But hey, he's got the coin. Why would you even bother working at that point? I'm just...
Listen. No, yeah, exactly.
You and I have talked about this before.
You'll be dead a long time, right? Enjoy your money.
Enjoy the money. Take friends on a trip.
Yeah.
All right, as we teased at the beginning of the show today, Tim got a great article about 50 of America's favorite foods. I don't know if we'll profile all of them. We can maybe do it like Tim's list back in the day and just look at the top 10. Or how would you like to do this, Mr. Bennett?
So the one thing, the reason this had caught my eye, which is, or I thought would be a good shop talk, it's funny you mentioned, back in the day we would have taken the 10 and made it Tim's list and given away socks. And unfortunately, we can't do the calls like that, the live calls. But what I was more shocked about was some of the foods that were on the list.
The international flavor?
Yeah, because if you had ordered, and I'm trying to think, and maybe it's just based upon where people live too, but if you were ordered, do you order takeout delivered to your house?
No, we rarely do. No.
But if you did, what do you think you would order? It's mostly people order a pizza or they order Chinese food or something, right?
Tim, you once laughingly told me that the best food for takeout's Italian or Chinese. It survives the takeout, right? Yeah.
Right. And so I was a little surprised by some of these things, which there's certainly Chinese and Italian on here pizzas. But I had pulled out some things of the top 50, and this was based upon, I guess they talked to Grubhub, right?
Yep.
And they looked at 320,000 restaurant partners in 4,000 cities. So this is real data. And they analyzed what people seem to order over and over again. And that's how they came up with their list. Now, hamburger was on there. What, number 2, I think, was the hamburger.
I think it was a cheeseburger was number 2.
Yeah, and I rarely would order something like that
Yeah.
to deliver to the house because I don't think that travels well. But as I was going down the list, hummus. Can you imagine ordering hummus? So this was number 45 was hummus.
Yeah. Oh, so you're going backwards. Okay, so that even like number 50 was sesame chicken, which but in
Chinese
food, like sesame is chicken. 49 was nachos. I thought that might have been a bit
Which would be a
higher
mess by the time it gets to your house.
and it would be the chips would be like that, like
Wilted,
paper. Like,
yeah.
ugh, 48 was seaweed salad.
Yeah, that one was a shock to me because usually they throw that on your Japanese meal and it either gets pushed to the side. I like it, but it's got to be good. A lot of restaurants use crappy seaweed salad. It's horrible.
Yeah. And then right near that was chili at 47. I would have put chili up higher. And then at 46, this I know it's coming from a certain data set. Pizza, basically a margarita pizza.
Margarita
46.
pizza. Yeah.
That would have been if we were playing this game on Sirius, I would have put that in the top 10.
Yeah, and I would have just put pizza. I would have just done a pizza
Yeah,
category rather than get down to that granular level. And then 45 was the hummus.
Mm-hmm.
44 was sweet potatoes. 43, quesadilla. Chicken tenders, wonton soup. But then sushi, an avocado roll, salmon avocado roll, number 50.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've ordered sushi once in a while because the Chinese restaurant where I lived in Pennsylvania also had a sushi bar. And every once in a while, as a treat, we would order the Japanese because it was far more expensive than the Chinese food. So it was always a treat.
And you knew the place, so you knew the quality you were getting. Yeah.
But I was surprised about that.
39 garlic knots, 38 bean burrito, 37 cheesy fiesta potatoes. Now that's another one. The picture looks appetizing, but if that's being
potato
delivered
skins.
Yeah, basically. That's a mess. That's a messy food. Thai iced tea. I would not necessarily rank that as a food. That's a beverage
that was
to me.
Odd to me.
Milkshake is the next one at 35. I would have ranked that again beverage. And then the humble hamburger is at 34. Cheeseburger is at number 2, as we said earlier.
Yeah. And chips and queso, chicken wings, of course. Chicken wings would be popular. Donuts was a surprise to me.
31, I would have put, well, you and I, we've had donut tastings in the old days and stuff. I don't eat donuts. I don't know if you do, but they are to me like a treat. Like if you're going to do
love
something,
a donut. Like you like your brownies, I love a donut.
Love a good donut, yeah.
But it's got to be that day. You can't have a day-old donut. Day-old donuts don't work. That's why in the grocery store, sometimes I'm like, why would you buy these if they've been here a couple days? I don't know.
And then how about number 30, like plain old white rice?
Now, I don't order it. I'll pick it up if I go to the grocery store. Sometimes instead of me making rice for something, if we're doing sausage or something where we want a rice on the side, I will go into the Chinese restaurant and just get a box of white rice for $1.
Because they usually cook it perfectly.
It's perfect and it's cheap.
Yeah.
So that one, but I wouldn't just have somebody deliver that to the house.
No. And then tacos were 29. Chips and guac, 28. Okay, that I'd push that further up. This one, what about 27?
The crab rangoon, the Polynesian-inspired appetizer.
I mean, it looks great. Like that maybe could actually travel if it's the Grubhub thing. If it's all delivery, I would see that. And then you had shrimp tempura roll. Okay, I see that. What about this one though? 25 is an apple.
This was one I highlighted that made no sense to me.
The apple pie.
Yeah,
it's a dessert, right?
Yeah, I feel like ordering an apple pie.
Well, I guess their category was broadly just foods in general, food, right? So I guess pies.
But people order apple pie. Yeah. Cheese fries, Greek salad. Gyoza. Tuna roll, again, spicy tuna roll, Japanese. A chicken sandwich, okay. Boneless chicken wings. Again, I would have just thrown that under chicken wings. Onion rings, which are also tough because they can get soggy when they travel.
Yeah, you want them fresh from the kitchen. My personal favorites at 17, a Caesar salad with
Caesar
grilled
salad
chicken,
with
right?
chicken. You and Richard, that's his go-to. And I have ordered those. There was a restaurant, again, when I lived in Pennsylvania that did a very good job with those in delivery. Chicken tikka masala.
Chicken tikka masala. Yeah.
If you have an Indian restaurant near you, it would be fine.
And by the way, tikka masala just refers to the fact that it's white meat as opposed to the dark meat of chicken.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I always order chicken tikka masala, whatever the sauce is, but I usually do that. It's one of my favorites. Never bothers my tummy. The 15 was waffle fries. The fries came up a lot here. Mac and cheese, 14. Chicken quesadilla at 13. I'll say yes to that. California roll at 12, right?
Yep. And chicken nuggets. Mm-hmm. Which, again, I would have thrown chicken tenders, chicken under them.
All in the same thing, yeah.
Miso soup just comes if you order Japanese food
yeah,
usually.
Japanese food.
So miso soup was number 10. Number 9, edamame.
Love edamame, yeah.
Number 8 was a shock to me, garlic naan. So the naan bread.
Indian, yeah.
Indian. But I was surprised that somebody would order that. I would think that would, again, come with your Indian meal. Mm-hmm. Mozzarella sticks. Number 6, pad thai. Number 5, French fries.
Yeah. And French fries. So they had they had sweet potato fries, they had waffle cut fries, and these are traditional French fries.
Yep, the French fries. So what was number 4?
Cheese pizza. Like I would have done what Tim said. I don't know that a margarita pizza is that much different than a cheese pizza. It's a pizza. But and what are our last ones here? What's number 3?
Number 3 is hash browns.
Hash browns. Tim, hash browns.
Yeah, that one was odd to me. Number 2 was the cheeseburger.
Uh-huh.
And again, I've not really ordered hamburgers for delivery.
No.
And number one escaped me. I don't even know if I've ordered this out. So what's number 1, Mr. Nash?
Burrito bowl. And actually, a burrito bowl to me, I think that I like this idea. But this to me just says Chipotle, right? Because burrito bowl.
So I guess we did have one at Chipotle when we were in the studio. We would go.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever ordered one.
That was what?
I don't think I've ever ordered one. I've never ordered one to be delivered.
Not to be delivered, yeah. No, I like burrito bowl because you could go, it was very specific. I could get like brown rice, chicken, and then there's some tomato they put on that. And then you could have it very plain and easy. The only thing I think about a burrito bowl, especially for lunch, is the portion was pretty big. It's one of those things you can almost split with 2 people. I bet you know how people eat, but
what I was surprised about the top 10 is it was Japanese with miso and edamame. It was Indian with the naan, Italian with the mozzarella sticks, Thai for pad thai, French fries, cheese pizza, hash browns, cheeseburger, burrito bowl. So Mexican burrito bowl. Nothing Chinese in the top 10, which surprised me.
You mean like General Tso's chicken,
or the sesame chicken, or
yeah.
I would have thought something Chinese would have been in the top 10 versus Japanese. If you said Chinese or Japanese, I think most people would have thought Chinese would have been there rather than Japanese or Thai.
Yeah, but you need to have a good Chinese restaurant to have those. Like when we moved into our neighborhood up here back in 2018, there's a Chinese restaurant down the block. We tried it once. And if you talk to people in the neighborhood, like, how about the Chinese? Oh, no, that's once. You do that once. So we don't. Yeah. It does a booming business, but I can't figure out who's ordering.
Yeah, no, it's the same here. I've had a tough time trying to find one that doesn't use so much MSG or whatever, or lots of oils and junk. So we'll post this to our Facebook page, which is Focus Group Radio on Facebook, so you can take that and look at the list yourself. And so, hey, we want to thank you for joining us here on the Focus Group. Be sure to learn all about us at focusgroupradio.com. While you're there, you'll see our sponsors, including Deep Discount. You'll see them in the side margin. Be sure to click on them and support them for supporting us. And they appreciate it, and we appreciate it, of course. And while you're there, you'll also see links to our podcast, which is TFG Unbuttoned, which is released every Tuesday. And you can download that programming as well. And as Mr. Nash and I like to say, don't text and drive, arrive alive. And particularly as we get into the summer driving season. And we'll catch you next time here on the Focus Group. Take care.
It's The Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash. Accessible on all platforms. Subscribe, like, and rate us on your platform of choice. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com.
That was a stunning focus group.